Cool. All right, I'm recording. And then are you screen sharing in here?
Yes, I will in just a second. Uh,
Cool. All right, I'm recording it now.
yep.
So our first drop wasn't great. And we die off spawn.
Yep.
So our goal, we prepped was to hit the cans. So that's
Yep.
there's two like there's central barrels there. One was gonna land on the right side, the other one was gonna land on the left side, and they were gonna come together and they were gonna farm the barrels essentially and then push the other team.
The glide
But
is not good here. I don't think.
yeah, the drop was scuffed. So he dropped the scuff. He had a really scuffed drop. I actually made them go out and practice their drop after.
I am so surprised they make it out. Do they?
No, they got killed. And I actually asked them to go practice their drop. And then I was coaching another team, but they got kicked out of the thing.
Yep.
So this was the other team. We can skip past this. I actually made a
I
bad call out for Cloudy to jump down and take a fight that he shouldn't have taken, but that's okay. Then they get their drop map ready, and then this is their
This game
second
two.
game. Yeah, this is
Yep.
game two.
Are they
So game one, they
contesting?
die off spawn due to a bad drop, and then they
They
fix
are
it.
contesting. Think your guy above him. Let's see. They should win this. Yeah. So win two.
So I think this game we key too much. If I remember correctly, we pulled the trigger a little too much. I think once we got the points, we should have chilled out. But it is the second game, so
Yeah.
but I think we keyed a little too much, and we just run into trouble.
Well, this fight right here isn't bad.
It isn't this one. They get thirded. You'll see. There's a third that comes in, and that's then they start taking a lot of damage going down. They're unable to regroup and get in the same box, and they eventually go to die.
So okay. Um, One comment I have is actually if you want feedback on coaching.
Yeah,
Um,
I probably talk too much here. I feel like.
it's not even about too much, although that is the byproduct of it. It's about saying stuff that doesn't do anything. So I'll give you a good example. So you mentioned heal up. That is a good comp because it's a command on what they should be doing or their demeanor is a decisional thing. Careful, don't die. You know what I mean? Like that stuff that is not that's not information.
That's true. That's true. I definitely
It's
agree with you. I
also
think I was literally listening to myself talk, and I'm like, wow, I'm talking a lot right now, aren't I?
yeah. And naturally, if you're talking a lot, it's probably because there's a lot of things that don't need to be said. So, for example, like it should just be heal up, and everything else that can go. Like literally,
Yeah,
just
I
listen to
agree.
it.
I agree. I agree.
Is this even the fight? Wait, they get. I don't think they get thirded here. They
No, they
literally
they
win.
they eventually go down to a third. I remember
Wait,
they eventually go down to a third.
isn't it literally the same team that fights them? Like, look, it's just these two guys,
I remember they go down to a
and
third.
there's a solo, and then he hits him. He gets, like so
I
that
keep
that
saying the
calm
same
is
thing
good.
three times. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
said it
that
three
calm is
times.
attack the same guy together is fine, right? So this is fine. Him getting shot in the back is by the teammate. It's just a 2v2.
The don't guy was
Like,
a bad comp. Yeah. Now that I'm
yeah.
hearing myself back, this is actually fascinating because I hear what you're saying now. This was also the very first time, the second time I had coached this team ever, and the first time I had
Mhm.
kind of done this to begin with. So
Yeah, I hear you. Now the main thing that I think in the 2v2, it's hard to fully tell with the PoE switches, but the biggest thing that I see is we had height and we lost height. You want to keep height. One player who has height, other player can go in a little bit deeper, and yes, you could commit both of players. But the thing is, height in 2v2s is very important. We had height, but then somehow they took height with our HP advantage. How is that possible?
That's true.
We have height here. This guy we're watching doesn't have height, but the teammate is anchoring height, and now we definitely have height. You know, but the thing is, like, eventually we're winning on HP. No one's hurt. Yes, we get hit for 100, but we're still winning on HP, by the way. And the biggest thing is just the fact that we lose height. We don't have height. Now when we retake this shot right here makes no sense. Left hand peek on the corner of the cone, jump shot peek that the enemy has on you because he's closer to the edge of this stair meeting than you are, which means whoever's closer to the edge has the better peek. And so what that means is we should decline this trade, but we handshake it. We handshake it and lose. This is
Yeah,
where the fight's on, right? We need to decline that trade. You don't shoot build, you just build.
I hear that. So he should cone and then side jump to the right.
You should cone and go for a retake if he wants to with healthier HP instead of just losing the trade, right? Yeah, exactly.
There's the diagonal box fighting.
Yep.
Still trying to go up. Gets
Yep.
coned.
He's
Ooh,
dead, he's dead.
that's where it goes down.
Okay, so if I had to ask, I'll ask you this question, and like this will help. So right here, this is fine. Okay, where's the enemy relatively speaking in 3 dimensions? Where's the enemy relative to him? Is it
To the
above,
right.
to the side?
So up to
Yeah,
the
would
right.
up.
This isn't me, by the way.
Exactly.
This is yeah, but
No, I know. I'm more so asking just so to have a dialogue because it's like the enemy's above. Wait, hold up. Let me fix this. This sound is crazy. Uh, okay. The enemy's above them. So if the enemy's above them, what is opposite direction?
down.
Correct. And so what the player that we're watching should do is place this wall, close it off so they can't get pieced, double it down. But then we
Yeah,
jump out to the side and we jump up. So now we lose. Right? The intention was to run away, but if the intention is to run away, then opposite direction is the best direction, no?
I agree. I
Get
agree.
away from the enemy. Like so the problem is we jump up into them and so we get hit. So the rule of opposite direction that I dictate, right? Like it really just says you should always go opposite direction. And that'll help you.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. It's interesting to hear my comms. I'm like super critical of every comm. I normally, so real quick pause. Normally in a
Sure.
2v1 situation, I'm a huge fan of the player. Now, I think in this case it's a little tricky because of what's going on, the fact that there's two teams shooting. But I'm a huge fan of making sure you're on high ground so you can't be pinched. It's the one place where you can't be pinched, you can only be chopped down.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So that's why I was calming to get height in that situation.
Yep. I agree with that. Because the
Okay,
1v2, 1v3, 1v4, height is where you gain the most power. Because in order for them to come to you, they have to fundamentally split up. They can't retake together.
exactly. So I
They
always
end up
I
being
always push my athletes or the person I'm coaching. If you're in a clutch situation, you need to get high ground. That's the most
yep,
important.
yep,
So he's going down to heal and try and get out because he's running out of mats and zone coming. So this is a real tough situation. And I feel like, yeah, there it is. So like the question is I think in hindsight, we don't key as hard as we were keying. Now, I say that now with where they are at now. I think later, if they continue to develop and continue to get better and stuff, we can definitely
yep,
push the key more. But I think, looking at where we're probably going to be in the future,
yep.
we definitely rotate and place a little safer. And then they got kicked out of the cup, so you don't have to worry about that. They were unable to queue. They had the queue issue where like I guess they got mixed match on a different server and it didn't allow them to queue back in. So, but that was game two. So game two, we dropped 7 and got like 15th in the lobby.
Yes, that makes sense. Um, okay, so that game, find there's a couple of mistakes that I mentioned. I should literally summarize how to fix it. Like sometimes the fights are just lost through small mistakes. So like the two mistakes that I would summarize on that fight is maintain height, and someone should anchor height. Doesn't make sense that we have HP advantage, we're winning every trade, and we started with height and then we lose height. That doesn't make sense. The second thing is the declining of that trade. The third thing is jumping up when he is up when you're trying to run away.
Got you. Yeah. Okay, so here,
Okay,
let's see
won
what
the
happens.
trade.
I think I think we
We're up 100.
I think we win this fight through a clutch, if I remember correctly. I think we win this. I don't think we go down here if I remember correctly.
Mm. We lost. We didn't anchor hit. We need to fight top. Okay, look. When the enemies are split up on different layers, you want to fight top down. What that means is work the top person first, right? So both people should be 2v1ing the guy on top because if you do it the other way around, where you 2v1 the guy on the bottom, then you're getting dropped on top of your head by the enemy. That's
That
why.
makes sense. Okay, so here, yeah, they both have high ground, so they should 2v1 top down. That makes sense. That's actually a really, really good takeaway because this is the second time we've
Yep,
done this mistake.
yep, yep. Like we have that initial damage and we do good to we do good to do this damage. So we're up a significant amount of HP on this guy, and he's also the weaker one. So um, Sticky should just come back up and just literally imagine Sticky just goes to this wall, jumps
Yeah,
in. He
sprays
goes
in,
to this
and
wall,
then
jumps in.
it's pinch,
It's
it's
over.
a pincer,
It's over. It's
it's a
over.
pincer.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Fight.
in this case, shouldn't jump down either.
No, no, no. He should just keep fighting
He should
him and tell
anchor height.
Sticky.
Okay, yeah, anchor height, and then we should have calmed the sticky. Yeah, but he jumps down on the other guy, and then they push. They opposite push. Yeah, so the communication here was actually bad.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he's actually flipping to go the other direction. They swarm really well because they're so used to swarming and winning that I think sometimes it just catches them off guard when they swarm and it's not quite there.
What do you mean by swarm?
Like just constantly getting in the box, aim dueling and killing. They're very good at
Yeah, yeah.
that. So I call it
Just
like
have to
blitzing or
target it on the
swarming.
right person. If you can do
Yeah.
that, then on the right person, it should work.
They really listen to the diagonal box fighting. They've been doing a lot better job at that, and they're doing that right here as well.
Yep.
Yeah, they could have ended this fight a lot faster if they would have sworn correctly earlier.
Yes.
Okay, that's really good. So if you both get height, clear top down is
Mhm.
the goal.
There should
That's a
never be
good
an
thing.
enemy above you if you're on offense.
Okay, so you got flicked.
That was good.
Yeah, this is our fragger. Just
Yep.
look at that. Just, or that was Shep. That was Shep. So Sticky went down.
Holy shit.
They're very good.
Wild.
And then they do get Zeus. They get Zeus. Yep. Oh yeah, we had a really good game this game. I actually remember this. This was before all the unfortunate events. I feel like I'm calming too much. Do you feel like I'm calming too much?
Uh, there is no such thing as calming too much. Is wrong and there's good and bad calms. Does that make sense? Like if all
Yeah.
your calms are good calms and you have to talk a lot to do that, then that's fine.
Okay. I'm
So
super
bad comms
critical
would
of
be
myself
stuff
as
like
a coach.
I think you understand good and bad comms based off what I was saying. I didn't even know you could do that. By the way, that is so funny.
What?
Mantle through your own window.
You didn't know that?
Nope, never seen that
Oh.
before.
Well, it's really annoying when other people do it to you. We actually, I think, get third place this game, if I remember right.
Maybe.
No, I remember correctly. Yeah, second.
That's like, I mean, okay, there's no issues
So
there.
yeah,
It's just
maybe can you walk through this? Can you walk us through this end game? Maybe what we could have done better in this end game, or no?
sure,
Real
sure.
quick. Yeah.
I assume Sticky has good mats. Yeah, I'm gonna assume he has good loot just like he does. Okay. Oh well.
Oh, there's somebody in the
There's
bush.
mistake number one, right?
They didn't check the bush before they rotated.
I don't even think you need to. I mean, you can, but you could just avoid it. So the way you can do that is by just
So I think I saved down on low ground. You see where zone's pulling? I wanted them to go like left side. Do you see like dip down through, and then that way they're protected from the lobby on high ground. So
I
like
don't think
going,
that's necessary because I know what you're saying. You're saying go through here.
yeah. But I meant
Like
like immediately. Do you see like how he can jump down to the left? But what would you say? What would you
the
say in
zone,
this
the
situation?
zone's cutting in, so there's closing side and opening side. So this line right here, this wall, will not open or close because it's aligned with the end wall. This wall right here will have to close because it's aligned, not aligned, and it has to go in. So if you go down here, you're
Oh,
gonna get
you're right.
suffocated between the cliff and the wall. So he does need to go here, in my opinion. And also, there's not that much people here. The only issue is the bush. So if you just walk past the bush, place two walls like this, right? Checking does nothing, in my opinion. Like you just need to assume someone's in there. If you shoot them, they're just gonna shoot you back, or
True.
build or whatever. Or you could jump over it, but then you're susceptible to height, and I don't like that. I don't like popping fizz and jumping high. Then height beams you. So I like that they go like this. They just need to build it off, like place ramps, place walls, and after you build like 3 or 4 ramps or walls as you're going past them, then you can jump over from like here to there, catch yourself, and then you're home free. Like the trading doesn't make sense. Checking while you're going past doesn't make sense. You need to block while you're going past. Like, would you rather no one takes damage or both of you take equal damage? Are you gonna grief each other or both be healthy? I'd rather both be healthy. The goal of the game in Battle Royale is not to grief each other. The goal of the game in the Battle Royale is to only worry about yourself. And so then if you're taking damage, no matter if you're getting a kill or not, as a result, it doesn't matter. It's not worth it.
I hear you. I hear you.
Like he trades his entire health bar to do some damage when instead he could just build past it.
So really on rotating zones, and I think this is what first moving. I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is
It
first
is.
moving. Yeah.
It is,
So
yeah.
he should have burned wood too. So first and second
Yeah.
moving, you burn wood and then hard mats. So we're building out a hard
Literally
mats right now. We should have
walk past
and
the bush
just
one or
burn
two
all
blocks
your
away.
wood and just burn all your wood.
Well, it doesn't even have to be that much. I'm saying 4 to 5 builds.
That's true.
It's
That's true.
actually really simple. Like you just block that, and you can look at height. So in chess, there's a concept called overloading, meaning, let's say I have a knight, and it's
Yeah.
defending 2 pawns, right? 2 of my own pawns, and the enemy is attacking both pawns with their own pawns. So what the enemy can do is take one of the pawns, the knight recaptures, but then loses defense of the other pawn, and then I can take that pawn next. It's overloaded.
Gotcha.
So on rotation, you can be overloaded by angles, right? So in this case, he has to worry about the bush, but also the rest of the lobby. Like, who says Height's not going to shoot him midair while he's trading with the bush? No one. He just got lucky, right? The problem is he's not worried about the rest of the lobby when he should be. Where when the way what you can do about that is to always make sure you're only worried about 0 or 1 angle at a time. So the way you
I
can
hear
do
you.
that in Fortnite, luckily, with the magic of building, is you can just build off an angle. You can build off the bush, not worry about it, and then just worry about height. Like look at the height, see if they're looking at you. If they're not looking at you, you can just free rotate. If they are looking at you, you can pause or build your way to zone.
I hear you. Okay.
But if you
That's a
have
good way of
two
putting it.
different angles that you're overloaded by, you can't possibly watch both at the same time. Sucks. Which is
I
why
agree.
running through the middle of zone with no cover while people on left and right of you is a bad rotate. Because you can't possibly watch both at the same time. It's too hard.
That makes sense. That actually really makes a lot of sense.
Just getting shot by everything, yeah. But it's okay. Because if Sticky tarps here, you need to tarp. Yeah, Sticky needs to not do nothing there. Sticky, both people need to be capable of tarping. This is bad. You should just go left. You have hella mat. Oh, you're dead. It's over here. Yeah, the first problem, fundamental problem, is look where they base up in zone. They base up on the edge. What that does is it creates a more volatile pull potential. So if you base up in center of zone, let me explain this actually.
Yeah, it
The
could pull the other direction. No, we talked about this. So in first and second moving, you want to base up in the center so that way if it pulls in a different direction, you have the time to rotate.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. This is the averages of the distance is the same, but this is more volatile.
Yeah, because if it pulls the other
Full zone
direction,
or you
you
can
don't
go
have the
far.
time. You don't have the
Yeah, you
time.
don't
So
have the time. You instantly just get cut off, and especially if it pulls in the direction of old builds, you just die.
we
Also, there's
should,
way too many
yeah,
people
okay.
there.
Okay. I
Should be
hear what you're
higher.
saying. This is actually
Yep,
very, very good. There's a lot of small details here that we could have done a lot better on. But yeah, they base
yeah,
up on edges of zone. On top of that, there's also low ground.
yep.
And
And look
then
at the
they,
map. Look where they base.
yeah, they're literally right on the edge. I
Disgusting.
think we were all just frantically trying to survive at this point. Like they were just trying to box up and heal.
Yep.
and then they get
Yes.
blocked off by another person.
Like, this is what happens when you trade in endgame. Like losing HP is losing time because you
That
have to
makes
heal.
sense. That makes sense. Yeah,
So
no, that
so
makes a lot of sense.
if they lose HP and then become in late and then base up edge, they have zero time. They have like the longest to-do list and they have 2 seconds to finish it.
That makes sense.
Right.
That's actually really insightful. That's really insightful.
Yeah, if I had to pick out of the to-do list, what's the most important? It's don't lose HP and rotate. That's what endgame's for, especially when you have max match. Like, what is the benefit or the reward of fighting when you have max match? Zero, nothing.
Yeah, we really
Like
should have won this game now that you're saying it. Yeah, if we would have based up in center first and second moving. I remember you gave me the piece of advice to always burn your wood too. We should have burned our wood in first and second moving as well, but we're burning hard mats.
yeah,
We should be
yeah.
burning wood.
That is more of an advanced concept, you know what I mean? But like, it is good to think like that. But the biggest thing is doing that, but then not following um not focusing on rotate and trading will still get you killed. The more important thing, the more basic, more fundamental thing that everyone should worry about is really just can you
Don't
get to
trade and
zone?
rotate. Don't trade
Yeah,
and rotate.
just go to zone. Like people overcomplicate it because they watch Benji Fishy or pros and see how crazy their clutches are and they try to replicate that. But like I don't think people realize how easy it is to just move. And especially if you just focus on that only. That's where most of the return comes from. Just move, rotate. Like kind of like how he's playing now. It's a lot much better. That's what I want to see. Okay, so now he needs to move again. Go out the other way. Yeah. He pulls back, luckily. However, his positioning sucks again. Because if he pulled across the other way, he's just dead.
That's true. That's true.
He needs to be higher up. Luckily, it pulls this way.
Yeah, we did get lucky that it fell that way.
Yep.
Now, if it did pull the other direction on first and second moving, so generally, probability wise, if it pulls the direction, like if it goes one way, it's more likely to go the other way. And then we eventually lose this because we just run out of room.
If it goes one way, I don't understand that.
So like, let's say if it pulls left and pulls left again, it's more likely to pull right on the last moving.
I can't confirm that.
You don't think so?
No, I don't know anything about moving probabilities. I don't think there's anything like that. The
Okay.
only thing that I can for sure there are a bunch of hypotheses or theories or things like that about all movings or all zones in general. But the one thing that I can confirm is in uh first and second and third, that's generally true in the sense that it's gonna keep pulling in the same direction. That's true, and there's a logical reason for that. It's very complicated. It's like literally a 30-minute explanation as to why that's the case. Has everything to do with the fact that battle royale, like even in PUBG, zones are determined in reverse, and because
Yeah,
that
yeah,
those
yeah. They're predetermined. They're
right,
predetermined. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So because of that, that's the case. But and anything else, I don't actually accept yet because I don't have the proof for it.
fair enough. All right. So those games, those were the games, and then essentially what happens is have like four games that were essentially, I think, Shep gets shot out of the sky like twice, and then he gets
Yes.
disconnected.
Okay.
So like it was like we had like a whole bunch of games where essentially we died off spawn, and then we win in our last game. We actually win our last game, but we don't
Yes.
qual. I think we get like 200 points, and then based off the last game, because of how much off spawn deaths we had, we really decided that we felt like playing Lavish was going to be the move, so that way we could be more center and not have to take so many fights.
Yes.
So I think now we can kind of transition to the game planning because the rest of the matches, like, were just literally us
Well, the game
dying
plan is,
to.
in my opinion, a 2-minute discussion. It's not a long one. I already think I know what it is. Um, Basically, it's play scrims and Vod Review every single day, as much as you can. Maybe you can skip days if you want, but generally speaking, that is the routine, which is scrim, VOD, scrim, VOD, scrim, VOD. Play scrims and write down every placement you have, regardless if it's off spawn, mid game, or end game. Try to play variable skill levels of scrims, so you play the easy ones, medium ones, and the hardest ones, whatever ones you have. To play different types of scrims, so that the player quality is different and all that. And even the easy one is just as important, actually. But then write down your placement and the one sentence mistake per game,
Okay.
and then VOD review it. Right? Maybe
When you
that's how you
say when
define
you
it.
say scrims, do you mean like scrims in like Battle Royale or like scrims in like Zone Wars and stuff like that?
Battle Royale, nothing in creative.
Okay, nothing in creative. Battle Royale.
Yep. Yep. Can
Okay.
you get to the point where you can get consistent gameplay or scrim placement before FNCS. And the way you do it is just like we're doing right now. We're Vod reviewing, do a cash cup. We're seeing the mistakes. You see the applicable changes that we can make, and so then you scrim and try to make those changes.
Okay.
The biggest, like for example, like if I were to write a math test, I don't feel confident in the fact that I'm going to get a 90-95% until I write the practice test under the same conditions and get a 90-95% with no cheating. That's what
Do
scrims
you
are.
where are some good servers to like do scrims and stuff like that?
Um, I'm not perfect at this. Like my students know way more than I do about this stuff because it evolves, it changes, and I'm less involved in the community in this way than I am with the students. But generally speaking, Vital is good. I would actually consider or tell you that Sticky and Sharp, like these students would probably know. But
Okay.
I do think Vital is your best bet. You should go Vital.
Okay. Okay. That works.
Okay. But yeah. Anything else on that? Does that seem like a fair game
Well,
plan to you? Do you have other questions about that?
no. I wanted to sit down and like talk about like rotations and stuff like that, but like I'll talk about like where to land, like loop path and stuff like that, like what I was thinking the loop path should be and like stuff
Yep.
like that. That was more of what like I was thinking. So like here's
Okay.
what like
Sure.
I was thinking as far as like where to go, and I would like your advice on like how we can play this out so we can have a higher chance of success.
So
So,
brawlers is or it's not brawlers where you land. You land B
well, this
first,
is
right?
where they were going. I mean, do you think we should keep going here? We had a lot of games where people were landing here at Brawlers and here, and then sniping us out of the sky as we were trying to get to here, and thus we died a lot off spawn. It happened like 3 times in the Cash Cup. So like
Well,
I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know if this is a good POI for
where is
us.
the high? Where is the place that they have the most experience landing at? Is it this?
Um, it depends on the player. As a duo, yeah, they have a good experience here, but we've really been dropping Lavish a lot. We've been dropping Lavish a lot. So after this our first duo Cash Cup, this didn't go well. They've
Lavish
been
is
dropping
crazy though, in
Lavish.
my opinion.
You think Lavish
Lavish
is
is
a
a big
bad idea?
POI. Lavish is big is harder than this, in my opinion. Right?
So you don't think Lavish is a good bet? I mean, it's not.
Where do they land? Do they land main? Like land here?
Okay, so we've tried out a couple of spots. They generally do land top building. So if we do, we land through the top window here and we drop at the top.
Okay.
Something we've also looked at as well, and we've kind of experimented with this, is landing here at the cabin and then farming up, getting really good wood, and then rotating here, getting the barrels, and then going bolts. Or rotating
Okay.
back
What?
here because there's
Can
a
you stop
car.
sharing? I'm not seeing something. Uh,
Oh,
when you say
I'm sorry.
here,
I was not screen sharing. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
yeah, I do want to see it actually. Yeah,
Sorry, my mistake. Yeah.
you're good.
This is good. This is good for me to see like what you think because this is will help me grow as a coach. So like we mainly we stopped because we had like really bad games here,
Hmm.
like dropping
Hmm.
here. We were getting absolutely sniped out of the sky. So like they would snipe us here and they would snipe us from here, and then we would die. So like we've had real hard times coming here.
Yep.
We've mainly been dropping here. They know this really well. They know Lavish very well. And what I was thinking is we could drop center, but there's a chance that this could be heavily conned, right? So if it's
Yep.
super heavily conned, we have this cabin here. And essentially what this cabin has is barrels. So you can get at least 50, 60, 70 shield. You can get really good wood. And then you have a couple rotation options from here. You can either rotate, there's a car here actually that you can farm from metal. And then you can rotate to the vaults. And then the vault not only has shields, but it also should have enough loots that you should be totally good to get shotgun and have pretty decent loots to play out.
What
And
if
then there's also
people
metal
land
here.
there? Like,
What's
what if
that?
people land at the vault?
Then you also have Rebel that you can go to as well, or you can rotate down through here to get this, and then you can lock down the War Bunker
Okay.
on the
Um,
second moving.
the thing is, bunker happened super late in third zone, so the timing of that would have to be slightly different. Like, not slightly, it has to be very different. Um, if this is your off spawn plan, bunker has to be very late because like you can't sit there for 2 zones straight, doing nothing. Obviously you can farm around, you can get stuff like that, but also another thing is I this is how you start a loop pad, right? Like you should do loop paths on Fortnite GG, you should come theory craft right here. Then there's a really important stage that a lot of people skip before they commit to something, which is this is how it is on paper. Have
But
you
like
tried it
actually
out and
go out and do
see?
it. Yeah, actually
Yeah,
go
yeah,
out and
yeah,
do
yeah.
it.
And what are
I
the
have.
problems? Because sometimes it's unsolvable.
I think maybe we just need to scrim more. We need to scrim more to see what those problems are. But what
Yep.
I mean, we've been able to drop lavish and have good success
Because
here.
like can't here's what I see is you have two plans of direction after the first initial spot, right? So rebel or the right side, the vault, right?
Hmm.
Is there a plan C?
I mean, there's a lot of different options you have out of here. We haven't seen we've dropped here before and won quite a bit. If I had to say a plan C, the river is really, really good for rotation. So if everything fails, then we
But
can
what about
base
loot? Do you think the loot is sufficient if plan A, plan
not
B don't
from
work? Because it,
no, it's not. I will
yes,
say you're not going to get enough loot from here. You will eventually
exactly.
have we will eventually have to I mean honestly, you probably if this gets conned and this gets conned and this gets conned, the idea
Yep,
here is that you're not sitting here forever, right? We're
yep, you're
sitting
not.
here and we're rotating, right?
Yep.
Hoping to take maybe we have to take an early game fight. I don't know. What do you think? This is why I really want this is why I don't want to bring this to anybody until I'm really really solid that we have a good foundational plan.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, bottom left in the river, no one's gonna take those that loot. I'll tell you that. Like, because that's just not enough for a duo. So no one's gonna take that. The bottom right piney pumps, no one's gonna take that. It's a random gas station, right? Generally speaking, this can be a split. It's just where's your metal? Is that at the gas station?
Okay, so metal can be gotten from a couple places. There's a car right here that can give you at least 100 metal. The vault has a ton of metal. This has an absolute ton of metal. And then there's a whole bunch of barrels that you can kind of farm along the river. There's metal here, but you can really use this river to rotate and then farm metal as you go to center.
Okay, okay, okay. Let me
And
look
that's
at
another
that.
reason why I really like this block because you can kind of rotate to river here. And if let's say we get a really bad like first zone pull, like let's say it pulls like all the way like down here, like we get like one of these, kind of like that,
Yep,
right? We can use this river to really, really rotate and get here. Now the second zone, right? If it pulls here, second zone is probably going to do one of these
yep.
down here, right? So like,
Hmm.
but we'll have the river to really help us rotate. And then there's also the berries here as well, kind of near fencing. So you see how the river kind of goes into fencing, and then we can
Yep,
use these berries to get even farther. This is like worst case scenario.
yep. Um, so here's what I think.
Okay.
Here is your. I want you to try this because there's no. Even I can't tell you if it's gonna fully work until we do it. See how it works out. This is your rotation if zone pulls sent like away from you, like towards center, bottom right, something where you don't pull zone,
Are
right?
you sharing your screen?
Because I sent you a screenshot.
Okay.
And then the rotation if you do pull zone will be different. Should be something like that. And at any point, if bunker is free, you can go back to bunker. It's worth tanking storm for, obviously. But the thing is, bunker is third zone. So if bunker is like if you don't pull zone, bunker is not really a good play.
How do you feel about solving surge as a problem? Like, how do you feel about doing surge?
Surge here can be solved either by tagging rebel, lavish, or even anybody in underworld, or anybody
Okay.
who shares the split with you, or north side. You have a lot of options for surge here.
Okay. What do you feel like
Honestly,
we should carry for surge? Do you feel like carrying sniper for surge is probably the best right now?
sniper in the early game stage to tag other people is best. But then you drop it later. Like hopefully you can get some snipes, one or two snipes in the early game, early mid game, to like rack up like a high tempo like surge, like 100, 200 damage, and then you just drop it and carry like SMG or AR, so you can get the remainder surge with that. And the reason why you want to do it that way is because like two guns is really best. If you don't have enough loot, which might be the problem with this drop, like you will not get like max shield or anything like that. Then what you could do is carry one person carry three weapons, one person carries two weapons. So one person carries like an AR or an SMG to get surge with that, and the other person carries sniper, AR, SMG, something like that.
Okay.
AR or SMG, AR slash SMG.
And then I feel like Flowberry is right now the best mobility item. I do think
I
if
think I
zone
think
pulls heavy,
is that what you're referring to? The
what?
fizz?
Yeah, the Flowberry
Like the
fizz, yeah.
okay, okay, because the berries themselves are a bit weird. But
Are
Fizz,
yeah, they're okay. Fizz is definitely yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Like I would try something along these lines. And bunker is always a central thing. Like I do think that vault may not be taken, but again, I can't guarantee. I have no idea what the contesting like
okay,
numbers are. So
all
something to
right.
try out. Yeah. I would say if you feel, when you say you land lavish, this is not what you mean, right?
Well,
It's not
I
what you
mean,
mean.
yes. I mean, no and yes. Like, so we've landed lavish. We've landed in a couple. Like, so
Yeah.
sometimes we pull here. I was thinking this more as a dynamic drop.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So dynamic, because I don't want him to die off spawn. I feel like off spawn is the worst. Dying off spawn is the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
So having a dynamic drop where we have a couple of options to pull just in case something goes down, because ultimately we want to be able to make it to end game because that's where the most points are going to be made.
Yep. Yep.
And we have three
I
hours
agree.
to play 10 matches, I think, or seven. I think it's three to play seven.
Hmm.
So that should be enough time. Yeah, that should be enough time.
Yeah.
But
Um. Yeah. I mean, I think so too. I just think drop is a big question mark until we try it out. That's all it is. That's what I'm thinking.
okay,
So
I
I would try it out
I haven't tried this
in.
loop path yet, but we can definitely try this one out.
Problem also with trying it out in zone rule scrims is obviously you're not really testing out a drop, right? So you would have to
So
find
should they
scrims
just try
that
it out
you're
in
not testing.
ranked? Do you think they should just try it in ranked?
No, that doesn't work either.
What do you think they should
Because
try it
rank
in?
non-zone rule scrims, which is really hard to find. But if you can find it, then that's where you should do it.
Non-zone wars scrims?
Non-zone rule scrims.
What are zone rules? I'm sorry.
Zone rule, yeah. In scrims, there's zone rules usually with open scrims, which basically says like, oh, don't fight for the first 3 to 4 zones because we want the game to be stacked, right? So
Okay.
then so then you're not really practicing early game if that's the case, right? There's no pressure, there's no one keying you. But if you there are some scrims, which are usually the higher level ones, where you can actually practice how do I say the early game dynamic because there are no zone rules because the people are good enough to actually stay alive. Like they don't feel the need to put in that arbitrary rule, right? So all these things matter in the sense that like if you try to practice this in ranked, it will not work because everyone hot drops, everyone drops big POIs. It's not the same, right?
Right.
But if you do it in a non-zonal scrims where everyone has their own drops, then it feels realistic. That's what you're gonna experience in round two of FNCS. Round one, yeah, honestly, after game one of round one FNCS, you're gonna experience that too.
So like everybody's gonna kind of hot drop, and that doesn't allow you to really test. Okay, I see what you're saying because then you can
Yeah, it's
kind of
not
test
realistic.
like,
Yeah, like what are
yeah,
we
okay,
testing? Like the biggest thing we're testing here is not the path of the loot. That's the easy part. The hard part is there's gonna be people interrupting you usually, and in ranked, there are no people who will land here. Everyone's gonna land lavish, big POIs, railways. Like they're not gonna land these weird spots. No one does, or at least if they do, it's not that frequently or not that many teams. It's not realistic. Go look at how many teams stay alive in FNCS. It's because they all land more reserve
spread out.
drops, right?
No, that actually makes a lot of sense. This actually makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it. I see why how I can prepare better in the future for this.
Yep, yep,
There's a lot of preparation that comes to this that I am still learning about.
yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, so these are the two drops. So you would come here, come here, come here. Okay, what do you think is the best thing to use to get a really, really good drop, other than obviously practicing every day?
Best tool or tip?
Like tools. Like
Uh,
do you recommend any calculators or anything like that? Do you think they're helpful? Like
I haven't usually used that much, honestly. I haven't used them that
you
much.
just you just
I really I tell my students to fucking practice on repeat.
every single day, just make sure
Yeah,
it's solid. Yep,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like that. Like I really mean it. Like 1,000 reps. Like that's what I did. And I never lost a drop. Like
Fair enough.
it can't be on. It is so crazy how important your glide is for off spawn. It's like 70% of it.
Yeah, it's so important. I actually just
Yeah.
posted a video about how important your drop is to our
Yes.
social channels. How like everybody's practicing triple edits and nobody's practicing their drop.
Yep. That's very important. Cool. Anything else?
Okay. And then we should test this in like a more of a scrim. So like And then we should look for some servers where they're doing scrims essentially.
Yes, yes. I mean, I can try to link you with somebody from NA that could tell you about the scrims. Let me try to see if I can find. Do I have a student? I should have a student in NA that would do this. Hmm. A scram. I'm not in the loop.
There's a lot that goes into this. I can really see how people
Yep.
preparation is everything.
I just asked a student of mine
Okay.
who would know how he's literally playing scrims right now, actually on stream. Um, it's funny. But I just asked him, and once he responds, I can maybe even set up a group chat with you and him, so he can explain it to you. Just because he
Okay.
would have it more information than I would. Because again, I like most students that I work with already know, so I don't need to explain anything, which is why I'm
Fair
not
enough.
caught up with it.
Fair enough.
Scrims back when I competed versus scrims now is completely different.
Yeah.
So cool. Anything else?
No, that's it. That's it. I
Please,
think
if
this
you,
was
of
really
course, as
good.
usual, like if you have questions, updates, any inquiries at all, like DMs are always open. So, and I will respond same day for sure.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we can
No
get as
problem.
far as we can
Yeah,
and yeah,
yeah. I
I'm
really
trying to
encourage you to
just
try your best because the result is not the greatest reward of it. It's the struggle of trying to do it that is the greatest reward.
I agree. I
Right.
agree.
It's so rewarding to the character building wise. Like I really think trying your absolute hardest without fear of failure is what you guys should do.
Preach. I'm out here
Yep.
trying. I'm trying my best. I am trying my absolute best to do as best as I can.
Yep. Let's do it. All right. Sounds good. We will keep in touch and let me know if you need anything. Okay.
All right, sounds good. All
All right, man. Have a good night, and we'll
right.
talk soon.
All right, bye.
All right. Bye.